Hey there, dirt bike people. I'm Chuck from TrueTech, and today I'm going to be diagnosing this TM144. Customer says that they were riding the bike, it started vibrating a lot, and then it suddenly stopped. And now it's locked up. It seems like it's pretty obvious what happened here, but I never assume, so I'm going to verify, which I just did. Then I'm going to diagnose, so I'm going to have a look at the engine quickly. It should only take me a matter of a few minutes. And once the diagnosis is complete, we're going to figure out a logical repair, and we'll probably get started with that today. The first thing to do on any two-stroke with any suspected running issue or engine issue is just have a look inside the cylinder. It's so simple to do. It's awesome. I took 2 springs off the front. I'm going to remove 2 bolts. Give it a quick wiggle. Off she comes. See how close I can get you guys. It's not looking too terrible. Just come over here. No play there. Surprise, surprise, with a locked up motor. Get it to move a little bit. Okay. Oh, look at that. It uses the most common puller on the planet, not like the other TM300s. Now, of course, on a racing machine, you might expect that there is an adjustable stator on it. So before I take this off, I want to make very sure that I put it back in the right spot. And it looks like there is a little mark right there that lines up with the edge of that little boss on the case. Now, of course, this at this point is just gathering information, which I like to do, especially before I talk to the customer. I know that I'm going to have to take this motor apart because it doesn't turn, but I want to know as quickly as possible what exactly I'm dealing with, and I don't want to miss any information if it is over here. No leaky crank seal or anything, no play. At this point, my estimate is that there's going to be a seized connecting rod. That's my guess at this point. So next, I think I'm gonna pull the cylinder off of this thing while it's still on the bench. It's very easy to do. If this was a 300, I think I would take the motor out. But there's so much room in here on a 125. So everything that I'm removing off the bike right now is gonna go into a chassis bin, including the flywheel. I probably won't even remove the stator off of the bike. It'll just stay down here with the slave cylinder on the bike. I have not had one of these apart before. I'm looking for the coolant drain. I'm assuming it's going to be down here. That would make sense. These bikes are generally very nicely designed. Nope, not it. Maybe it doesn't have a coolant drain. That'd be kind of dumb. Now, I suspect many of you are thinking, well, just yank the motor out, you got to do it anyway. I don't know if I have to do it anyway. I am in the diagnosis phase. I have verified, I have not diagnosed yet. You always have to keep in mind that it may only be the top end, and if that's the case, I can do the job faster by just yanking the jug off. So I am working towards a diagnosis right now, not towards a repair. Now, I hate getting coolant on my hands. I bet you there is a drain somewhere, I just don't know where it is, and I'm not going to waste a huge amount of time looking for it right now. I'm just going to get this coolant out of here. Just let that sit there. Get this power valve out of here. So I think I need to take this little rubber cap off. This is very similar to the 300. Then I just unplug that and I put a reminder on it. This bolt in here actually undoes the power valve actuator, controller, whatever, from the internal mechanism inside the cylinder. Now this just comes off. See, here's the arm and whatnot. And here's the arm that's controlled by what I'm sure is a little servo motor in there, or a stepper motor or something. And we'll get those coolant lines off. Just get these out of the way. I'll get this head stay off of here. This little hose is connected to it, so I'll just stuff that back there. I always like to get the spark plug out of there. Gives me a little more room to work. 12 mil. Now I might have to remove one of these coolant lines, but let's see if I can do it without it. No, they're gonna be in the way, totally. Okay, not a big deal. Yeah, nothing wrong with the top end. Connecting rod, no issue there. So we must have a crank bearing issue. But let's not get there yet. It might be in the right-hand side. That's also very easy to take off, so I'll do that. First, I have a mess on my bench. I don't want to get internal engine components mixed up with the mess that I have on the bench. I'm basically just gonna pull everything that's on my bench off into a bin. Give her a wipe down. So here we are, nice clean work surface. Pull off this little skid plate. Yep, ooh, nasty. That's looking pretty nasty too. Starting to think it's a good thing for me to pull this clutch cover off. Get this brake lever out of the way. I must say these TMs are super nice to work on. Everything's just intuitive. This little brake spring here, those are easy to lose. I don't know if this water pump is designed to come apart from the outside of the oh, no, there we go. That's why I checked. Okay. Might as well do this one while we're at it. Look at these clutch plates. They're not looking too bad. Put them aside for now. Motor basket and primary gear. Transmission spins freely. Idler gear spins freely. I can only conclude we have an internal engine issue. It is the crank bearings. Now, to some of you, that might have seemed like the long way around. I don't agree with that at all. I now have the cylinder off. I have the clutch side disassembled. Pulling out an engine without a clutch side on is very easy. I've already got the coolant drain and the hoses out of the way. I'll probably have this engine out in about 10 or 15 minutes, and then it's halfway torn apart already. So you guys don't need to see me pull an engine out of another bike. I'll get that out, and I will bring you guys back on board when I'm pulling the cases apart, and we'll see exactly what we find.